the signal that should not exist. The stars were quiet. For thousands of years, space had stayed cold and silent. Earth had grown strong, smarter, and far more powerful since the old times. People lived on the moon, Mars, and even the dark edge of Saturn's rings. But still, they remembered the old stories, stories of the conquerors. They came long ago, aliens with ships like cities and eyes like burning fire. They didn't talk, they ruled. They made Earth kneel. Back then, humans were weak, powerless, used like tools. But then something happened. No one remembers exactly how, but the conquerors vanished. Their ships left, and Earth was free. That was 500,000 years ago. No one ever heard from them again. Until today. Commander Daxon stood in the command hall of the Earth Orbital Defense Network, watching the signal dance across the giant black screen. Red lights blinked across every system. The signal was old, broken, scattered like whispers in the void. But the language was clear. It was them. "Bring up the waveform again," Daxon said quietly. Even his voice felt cold. The technicians were silent. Everyone was staring. No one moved. The signal pulsed every few seconds like a heartbeat. Strange symbols flowed through it, ones the AI translator struggled to understand. But some parts were clear now. "We return. Prepare for correction." Daxon took a step forward. "They think we're still theirs?" "Sir," said Lieutenant Murray, "we confirmed the signal originated from beyond Pluto, near the dead zone." Daxon frowned. "No one should be out there. No colony, no satellite. Just ice and silence." "Not anymore," she replied. "Our deep-range probes picked up movement, large ships, 10 or more." He turned toward the large glass window behind them. Beyond it, space stretched endless and black. Somewhere out there, the past was returning. "Wake the fleet," Daxon said. "Wake them all." 3 hours later, deep beneath the surface of the moon, hundreds of ships began to rise. They had no names, no colors, only numbers and coded signals. Their dark hulls reflected no light. These were Earth's ghost ships, the silent armada. For years, they waited in shadows, ready for war, ready for this moment. A single message was sent across the fleet. "Do not fire unless ordered. Observe. Prepare." Earth was not the same planet the aliens had left behind. In the city of Auris on Mars, children played beneath giant domes while mothers looked at the sky, feeling something strange in the air. On the edge of Europa's frozen seas, a group of miners watched the news as the first deep space radar images came in. The shapes in the black were massive, smooth, alien, and familiar. The conquerors had returned. Back in command, Daxon stood before a long table surrounded by Earth's highest leaders, military, science, and diplomacy. "Are we sure it's not just an old ship?" one of them asked. "It's not one," Daxon said. "It's many. And they're in formation." The room fell silent. "How long until contact?" another asked. "At their speed, less than 72 hours, replied Marie. "Unless they stop." "And if they don't?" "Then they reach orbit." Daxon looked around the room. "They think Earth is still weak. They think we forgot." He turned to the holoscreen and tapped it. The image of the alien fleet appeared, dark and full of power. "They will find out we remember everything." Far. Beyond the edge of Pluto, on a ship blacker than night, an alien voice hissed through static. "This planet glows again. It has not forgotten how to crawl." Another voice replied, low and full of pride. "Then it must be broken again." They had come to correct Earth, but Earth was no longer waiting to be corrected. Earth was ready. The ghost ships rise. Stars looked peaceful. They always did before a storm. From the frozen edge of Saturn's rings, nothing seemed wrong. No noise, no light, only silence. But beneath the icy shadows, hundreds of dark shapes began to stir, shapes that were never meant to be seen. These were the ghost ships of Earth. They had no flags, no names, no signals. They drifted, hidden for decades in orbit around dead moons. and dust clouds waiting for a moment no one believed would come. That moment had come. Commander Daxon stood aboard the warship EOS-1, high above the moon's far side. His eyes scanned the holograms before him. Each blinking dot was a ship now waking from sleep mode. The Silent Armada, Earth's secret shield. He remembered the first time he saw them as a young officer. They were built in silence, tested in silence, and hidden away in silence. Even Earth citizens didn't know the truth. The fleet was made in secret to face one threat only: the return of the conquerors. Now, after 500,000 years, they were back. Fleet status? Daxon asked. Lieutenant Mari replied quickly, her fingers tapping across the glowing screen. 87% of the ghost ships have activated, sir. Systems warming, weapons charging. Stealth remains active. Good, Daxon said. Keep us invisible. The ghost fleet didn't roar. It didn't shine. It didn't scream into space with bright engines. It moved like shadows across glass, slow, smooth, and quiet. But deadly, on the bridge, the crew watched as a single alien ship came closer into focus. It was vast, larger than any Earth carrier, and shaped like a crescent moon. Its surface shimmered with colors not found on the periodic table. The alien ship stopped near Pluto. Then two more appeared behind it. Daxon's jaw tightened. They're scouting, testing our silence. Then something unexpected happened. The alien ships began to transmit. Not words. Images. Across the command bridge, a screen blinked and opened a stream of data. Flickering shapes twisted across it. Not art, not maps. Memories. Humans being taken. Cities burned. Chains. Screams. They were showing humanity its own history, reminding them of pain, fear, and control. They think we forgot, Mari whispered, her voice cold. No, Daxon said. They want us to fear again. He stepped forward, tapped a command, and overrode the main screen. The fleet system responded instantly. Command override. Transmit reply. One image was sent back. A photo, a human soldier standing on the hull of a wrecked alien ship. In his hand, a sword made from the enemy's broken bones. Behind him, the flag of Earth burning bright in the vacuum of space. No words. Just a message. We are not the same species you left behind. Miles beneath Earth's oceans, more ships stirred. Submarines that could rise into orbit. Railgun barges that fired from trenches. Drones by the millions waiting in volcanic vaults. Humanity had built its weapons not on power, but on patience. Above them all, in silent orbit, the ghost fleet turned as one. No sound, no light, just movement, unseen by satellites, untracked by enemy scanners. They began to form a ring. Meanwhile, aboard the alien command ship, a creature named Viel Tor stood before his throne of living metal. He had 7 eyes. Each saw a different layer of reality. All of them stared at the image Earth had sent. He said nothing for a long time. Then finally he spoke. They have fire in them, his second-in-command hissed. They should not have fire. We made them small. No, Viel Tor said. We only made them wait. He looked out toward the dark space beyond. Send the harvesters. If they resist, we will remind them what silence really means. On Earth, President Aylin watched the reports from underground command. Cities were going quiet. Not in fear, but in preparation. Power grids shifting. Shields rising. Families moved to shelters beneath cities. But no panic. No screaming. Not like before. They come thinking we are weak, she whispered. They don't know. We've trained in their absence. In space, the alien ships finally broke their silence. They moved forward. Slow. Bold. Hunting. But they did not know the ghost fleet had already surrounded them, like wolves around a sleeping. Lying aboard EOS-1, Daxon stood with his hand near the command key. We don't strike first, he said, but if they light the match and then we show them the fire, then without warning, an alien drone passed too close to one of the hidden ships. It scanned, paused, and sent a signal. The trap was breaking. Commander, Marie said sharply, They know we're here. Then no more hiding, Daxon replied. With a single silent command, the ghost ships began to glow with blue light. Thousands of warheads unlocked. Railguns began to spin. I-fighters launched from dark ports. The silence was ending, and the stars would burn. We were supposed to be extinct. Deep in the black between worlds, 3 alien ships floated like ancient gods. Massive, silent, arrogant. They didn't expect resistance. They expected fear. But Earth had not stayed broken. The ghost fleet, thousands of hidden ships, now formed a circle around the invaders. They did not blink. They did not speak. They waited. Commander Daxon stood still on the bridge of EOS 1. His hands were steady. His mind was sharp. The enemy had found them now. But it was too late. Fleet lock is complete, said Lieutenant Marie. We have them surrounded. Daxon nodded. Hold position, let them act first. The silence between stars grew heavy. No one spoke. Not even the stars dared move. And then, the alien ship opened a channel. A voice filled with cold pride echoed. Across all human comms, Earthlings, fragments of a failed design. We allowed your kind to fall into silence. Now you crawl from the dirt, wrapped in stolen metal. The crew stared at the screen. No image came. Only that voice. Surrender your systems. Kneel. And you may live. As tools again. Refuse. And burn. There was a long silence on EOS 1's bridge. Then Daxon answered. Soft. Sharp. Final. We're not the same species you left behind. He ended the call. The alien fleet began to move. Not slowly now. Their formation shifted like a blade being drawn. Fighter crafts emerged. Scanning beams spread through space like webs of light. They were searching for targets, and one by one, they began to find them. They've locked onto 6 of our forward stealth ships, Mari said. They're launching drones. Don't fire, Daxon ordered. But sir, not yet. They watched as drones swarmed the nearest ghost ship. The alien scanners circled it, measured it, judged it, and then they fired. Explosions flashed in the distance. The first human ship vanished in flame. Permission to return fire? Asked. Mari, granted. What happened next was not a battle, it was a reckoning. In 1 second, silence became war. The ghost fleet awoke as one. Railguns screamed through space. Missiles shot from hidden moons. Earth's war AI released hundreds of firestorms. Unmanned hunter ships faster than thought. The aliens didn't expect it. They thought humans were behind. They were wrong. The second alien ship lost power as its engines were ripped apart. Human fighters slipped through its shields like knives. Explosions tore its spine open. Its command tower floated away, cut clean. The first alien cruiser exploded next, struck by 7 hyper-missiles launched from Europa's shadow. They're retreating, Mari shouted. What's left of them is trying to escape. Daxon watched, then said let them. On Earth, every screen lit up. People in shelters, bunkers, cities underground, they watched the impossible. The conquerors were running, the ghosts of terror, the monsters from forgotten nightmares, were turning away. Tears filled eyes, not from fear, from pride. But not all was won. On the edge of Neptune's orbit, a 4th alien ship appeared. This one was different. Bigger. It did not fire weapons. It sent a message, a memory. Back on EOS 1, the bridge lights flickered. The screen glitched. Then an image appeared, a city made of gold floating in the clouds of another world. Humans, thousands of them, chained, blindfolded, bent beneath alien feet, and among them, one face. Pause, Daxon said, stepping closer. Zoom in. The AI enhanced the image. It was a man. Human, but impossible. His uniform was not from now. It was from the ancient days, from before the fall, a style only seen in old museums and scrolls. He was kneeling, but his eyes were awake. Who is he? Mari whispered. Daxon narrowed his eyes. Someone who never should exist, the alien voice returned. You think you are free, but some of you never left us. He is one of yours. We kept him. We made him watch. He saw your world die. And now, he sees it again. Shock spread across command. A living human. From 500,000 years ago, still alive? Daxon clenched his fists. Locate that ship, he said. Trace the transmission origin. The AI worked fast. We have it, Mari replied. They're hiding behind Neptune's shadow, but not for long. Daxon turned to the screen. We're not just fighting for Earth anymore, we're going to bring him back. On the alien ship, the old man opened his eyes fully. For the first time in centuries, he saw a human face on the screen. Daxon's. He whispered 2 words. You came. Earth had awakened. The enemy had returned. But they were about to learn. Some species forget. Humans do not. The moon speaks first. The moon had always been there. Quiet, white, peaceful. Children looked up at it. Lovers kissed beneath it. Soldiers trained under its pale light. But almost no one knew what the moon truly was. Except a few. And now, its silence was ending. Commander Daxon stood on the Eos. One warship, his hands cold, his heart heavy. He had just seen the impossible. A human man alive on an alien ship wearing ancient clothes from 500,000 years ago. How can someone survive that long? Asked Lieutenant Mari. Daxon didn't answer right away. Cryogenic chambers, alien experiments, forced memory loops. Who knows? But one thing is clear. He looked toward the screen, where the 4th alien ship hovered beyond Neptune. They never planned to leave us alone. They kept one of us as a trophy. Mari clenched her jaw. They watched us rebuild, and now they're here to erase it. Daxon turned slowly, then let them watch something else. Back on Earth, President Aline walked into a secret room hidden under the Atlantic command base. It was not on any map. Not even the Council had access. Inside was a single chair facing a wall of black glass. And inside the glass was the moon. Quiet voice spoke from the shadows. They're back. Aline nodded. They brought memories, destruction, and one of ours. The voice paused. Then we activate Project Eclipse. Are you sure? Aline asked. Once we do this, we can't take it back. The voice replied, calm and cold. The moon was never just a rock. It was placed there. Built there. For this. President Aline took a deep breath, then said the words no human had spoken aloud in over 200 years. Let the moon speak. On the dark side of the moon, massive doors slowly slid open, revealing ancient weapons long buried under gray dust. Huge structures, like towers made of bone and metal, rose from the craters. Satellite images caught the moment. The moon blinked. Aboard. EOS 1, the signal came through instantly. Sir, said Marie, her voice shaking, the moon is online. Daxon's eyes widened. What did she just say? Another officer turned in shock. The moon is armed, sir. Then, from the edge of the moon's crater, a sound echoed across all of Earth's frequencies. We are awake. Targets locked, awaiting final command. Daxon stepped forward, stunned. It's not just a base, it's a machine. Mari looked at him. It was built for this day. On the alien ship behind Neptune, Vialtor, the alien commander, watched the moon's transformation in silence. They activated the seed, he said. I thought they would never find it, his second-in-command hissed. They do not understand what they hold. No, Vialtor replied. But the seed does not care who commands it, only that its enemy is clear. Suddenly, every alien ship received a message, not from Earth, not from the moon, but from somewhere older. You returned to erase us. But we still remember the dear first war. This time we are not running. This time we have teeth. Light exploded from the moon's surface. Giant energy beams tore across space, moving faster than thought. Alien drones vaporized mid-flight. Their metal shells melted before alarms could even sound. The second wave followed, 10 missiles made of pure sound, disrupting shields and breaking apart command systems. In one moment, the sky above Earth changed from fear to fire. But the aliens were not finished. They launched their doomsday weapon, a gravity bomb designed to collapse the moon and crush Earth's orbit. "It's incoming," shouted Marie. "We can't intercept in time." Daxon stared at the screen. "Unless, he opened a line to the moon's core system. Override command code, EOS Black 0. The system replied, confirming full lunar self-defense activation. He paused, then nodded. "Confirm." The moon shuddered, then it fired something that had never been seen before. A beam, not of light, not of sound, but of memory. It hit the gravity bomb before it reached the atmosphere, and inside that bomb, the alien tech remembered something. Fear. On the alien bridge, Valtor staggered. "They've learned to use the core," he whispered. "This is not evolution. This is revenge." His second-in-command blinked in panic. "Do we retreat?" "No," he growled. "We take their heart. We take the moon." On EOS 1, the alarm screamed again. "They're redirecting. The remaining fleet is heading straight for lunar orbit." Daxon smiled grimly. "Then they'll get what they came for." He opened all fleet channels. "This is Commander Daxon. Phase 2 begins now. We hold the line. We protect the moon. From Mars, from Europa, from stations hidden in the asteroid belt, Earth's fleets began to move. A storm of ships, a sea of fire. The silent armada was no longer silent. It roared, and above it all, the moon pulsed with ancient power, its true form now clear. Not just a rock, not just a base, a weapon. On the Y, alien command ship, the ancient human captive opened his eyes again. He smiled and whispered 2 words. About time. The human who waited forever. Inside the alien command ship, far beyond Neptune, the man opened his eyes. He had no name anymore, at least not one the aliens called him by. They called him the Witness. He had not seen sunlight in over 500,000 years. Not heard laughter, not touched Earth. But now, he had seen the moon fire, and he had seen humanity fight back. His cracked lips moved. "You finally remembered me." His cell was made of living metal, walls that pulsed like veins, floors that whispered in alien tongues. He had sat in it for centuries, trapped in a cycle of forced dreams and old screams. Each time he forgot, they made him remember again. "Watch," they used to say. "You were the last. Now be the first." They had taken him during the final battle of the first invasion. He had stood with a blade in his hand. His squad had fallen, but he had kept fighting, even after his lungs failed, even after his heart stopped. And then, they had taken his body and rebuilt it, to watch forever. On the alien bridge, Valtor turned to the silent man in the cell. "Your people fight? They awaken their old weapons, but they do not know what they truly hold." The man did not respond. Valtor leaned closer. "Tell me, do you remember what the moon really is?" The human looked up slowly. "Do you?" Across the solar system, Earth's fleets burned toward the moon. Daxon's warship EOS 1 led the front. Behind him, a wall of ships moved in perfect silence. Drones, carriers, rail cannons, stealth frigates. Everything Earth had left was now flying to protect one thing, the moon. Inside command, Mari stared at the energy readings. "Sir, the moon's core is pulsing. Energy is building. Something big is coming." "How big?" Daxon asked. "We don't have numbers. Our systems can't calculate it. It's not just power, it's memory, thought. Something is thinking inside the moon." Daxon looked out the window. Or someone. Back in the hidden command chamber beneath the Atlantic, President Alan stood with the last keeper of Project Eclipse. "Do you remember what it was?" Alan asked. The old woman nodded slowly. "Not a weapon. Not really. The moon is a mind, a sentient core placed by the first humans. It was meant to wake only when one of the old ones returned. The conquerors? Yes, and now it waits. For him? Him? The old woman looked up. The one they took. The one who never stopped fighting. He was our first commander. Inside the alien cell, the human stood. For the first time in centuries, the chains let him go. Not by permission, but by fear. The ship shook. The lights dimmed. Outside, explosions lit the stars. The war had reached them, and the moon had remembered his name. A voice entered his mind. Old, warm, familiar. Commander Izael. Welcome back. His eyes filled with tears. He had waited forever to hear it. Vaeltor staggered as his ship's systems began to shut down. He's reconnected, he growled. The lunar mind has found him. One of his officers screamed. He is broadcasting memories into our ship. The walls began to melt, not with heat, but with history, human music, human faces, pain, fire, love. A billion images rushed through the alien systems. They could not understand it. They could not survive it. On EOS 1, Daxon saw it too. Commander, Mari said, her voice trembling. We just received an encrypted memory burst from the alien ship. From who? She turned. A human. Inside the ship, Commander Izael moved like a man reborn. His muscles remembered war. His eyes remembered victory. The guards ran. They could not stop him. The ship itself began to break apart, its core choking on human emotion. He reached the command deck, looked out into the stars, and raised his hand. On the moon, deep within its core, something old opened, a chamber built before history, and inside it, a throne, meant for one. Sir, Marie said to Daxon, we're receiving lunar override signals. All fleet systems are syncing with a new command identity. Who? She turned the screen. And there he was. Izael, young, strong, unbroken. His voice echoed through every human ship. This is Commander Izael. I fought in the first war. I fell. They kept me. Now, I return. This is not the first invasion. This is the last. The moon's true form revealed itself. Layers unfolded, giant wings of steel stretched into space. Engines from ancient times fired after 10,000 sleeps. And from the core, a ship rose, not built, grown from Earth's own blood. Izael's mind entered it, and the ship answered. He was not flying it. He was it. Vaeltor saw the lunar warform rise from the moon. His final thought was not rage. It was fear. He turned to run, but light reached him first. In one blast, the lunar warform fired a beam of pure memory. Every scream, every sacrifice, every act of love humanity had ever made, the alien fleet could not hold. They shattered, not just in body, but in soul. On EOS 1, the silence returned. No more enemies on the screen. Just stars and the moon, glowing gently again. Daxon stood and saluted. Mare whispered, we were never alone. Daxon replied softly, no, we just forgot our oldest warrior. And somewhere, deep in the stars, Izael watched, not from a ship, but from Earth's oldest guardian. He had waited forever, and now he had come home. The trap they never saw. The stars were quiet again, but it was not peace. It was strategy. Earth's ghost fleet hovered near the moon, watching debris drift from the battle. Alien ships, once proud and massive, now floated as broken shells. Humanity had won, but victory felt unfinished. Commander Daxon knew why. He stared at the hologram of the deep starfield. This was just the front line, he said. They didn't come to win. Lieutenant Marie turned, confused. What do you mean? He stepped forward. They came to test us. Far beyond the edge of the solar system, past the Kuiper Belt, something ancient moved. It was not a ship. It was not a station. It was a gate. and it had just opened. Inside the lunar warform, Commander Izael stood motionless. His mind was linked to every weapon, every drone, every sensor in the fleet. He could see the moon, the earth, the stars beyond. But most of all, he could feel something pulling. An echo. A message hidden in the last alien ship's destruction. A trail. Not made of coordinates, but memory. "They want us to follow," he said aloud. On EOS-1, Daxon watched as Izael's signal pulsed stronger. Mari looked worried. "Commander, we don't know what's beyond the gate." Daxon nodded. "I know. But we're going." "Yes." She hesitated. "Why?" His eyes didn't leave the screen. "Because they tried to erase us once. And now, it's our turn to knock on their door." Earth's remaining fleets began to move, from Mars, Europa, and Titan, from moon bases and asteroid vaults. Dozens of ships, fighters, drones, and carriers, armed and silent, followed the signal. They passed Neptune. They passed Pluto, and then they reached it. The Black Gate, a structure the size of Jupiter, hidden in deep void for who knows how long. No one on Earth knew it existed. No one on Earth had built it, yet it had human DNA woven into its codes. As EOS-1 approached, it scanned the gate. The AI replied, "Structure matches lunar architecture." Mari's jaw dropped. "Wait, are you saying we built this?" Daxon shook his head. "No, something older did." Izael's voice echoed in. "Open it." "With what key?" asked Daxon. "My memory." Izael reached deep into the warform's core, and the gate responded. It lit up with white fire. Thousands of glyphs glowed. Then, space split. The gate opened, and on the other side, a galaxy full of stars, and one burning red world. "What is that?" Mari whispered. Daxon replied slowly. "The origin of the aliens?" He shook his head. "Of us." The fleet moved in. They crossed through the gate one by one into a part of space no human had ever touched. Behind them, the gate closed. What they found inside was not what they expected. No armies, no cities. Just one dying planet floating near, a red star, and orbiting it, a massive ship, more than a ship, a fortress, and at its center, a throne, and on that throne sat a human. The bridge of EOS-1 fell silent. "What is this?" asked Mari. Izael answered slowly. "That's not just any human. That's a prime." Daxon frowned. "A what?" Izael's voice grew cold. "The ones who lived before us. The first humans, the architects, the ones who made the moon, the gate, and then disappeared. So they survived?" "One did. They sent a signal." The figure on the throne raised his head. He looked young. Too young. But his eyes were ancient. "You followed the trail," he said. Izael spoke. "We fought them. We beat them." The Prime nodded. "You were supposed to." "Why?" Daxon asked. The Prime's voice dropped lower. "Because we created them." The silence was deep. Mari whispered. "Wait, we made the conquerors?" "Not we," the Prime corrected. "I did. My kind did. We built them to defend our borders, to protect our stars. They were pure logic, pure strength." His voice cracked. "But they turned. They erased us, forced us into hiding. One by one, my kind died. Only I remained." Izael's face was still. "And Earth?" "We left it behind, a seed, a chance to begin again. You abandoned us." The Prime looked away. "I watched your kind grow. I watched you bleed. I saw your strength." Daxon's voice was cold now. "And you never helped?" The Prime stood. "I could not. The machines would have found me. But now, they are gone. Thanks to you." Izael stepped forward in the war form. "So what happens now?" The Prime turned and smiled. "Now, you take my place." "What?" "I've waited too long. Earth is strong again. The machines are broken. It's time for the Prime to rest, and for the new fire to rise. Izael stared at him, then nodded. The Prime walked into the light and vanished. In that moment, the fortress shifted. It opened. A core brighter than any star rose into space, and from it, new ships, new designs, weapons forged from ancient knowledge and human will. The next fleet, humanity's true birthright. Izael turned to the stars. His voice echoed across all systems. They tried to erase us, but we became the storm. They built the trap, but we turned it inside out. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Earth was no longer a target. Earth was now a throne, and the galaxy would soon know. The humans had returned. And Earth answered in silence. The stars were no longer calm. They listened, from the burning core of dying suns to the frozen edges of the void. Thousands of eyes turned toward a small blue planet once forgotten. Earth. It had been marked weak, broken, behind. But now, the ones who had ruled for ages were gone. The conquerors, destroyed. The machines, silenced. The Prime, vanished, and in their place stood one truth. Humanity remained. On board EOS-1, Commander Daxon stood in silence, watching the vast fleet unfold before him. Ships unlike anything humanity had ever built now floated beside the Ghost Armada. Silver cores hummed with ancient energy. The new fleet was alive. "All systems are linked," said Lieutenant Mari. Her voice shook with awe. "Izael's war form is leading the entire network. We're one system now." Daxon nodded. "It's more than a fleet. It's a message." Inside the lunar war form, Izael stood at the center of a glowing bridge. His mind was part of everything now. Satellites, drones, warships, star maps, forgotten languages. He could see it all, and beyond it, them, other empires, other watchers, other species who had seen Earth's rise, and were beginning to whisper. Some were afraid, some were angry, some were preparing to strike. Izael didn't flinch. He didn't need to speak. He had silence. On Earth, people stood in the open now. No bunkers, no panic. They looked to the sky, not with fear, but pride. Children pointed at the bright flashes near the moon. Soldiers saluted. Mothers wept, not for loss, for what had come back. In the deep council chamber beneath the Atlantic, President Allen sat before the old global transmitter. The one built in the last Great War, meant to send a final goodbye. Now she would use it for something else. She opened the channel and waited. In the dark of another galaxy, an alien empire picked up the signal. They had watched Earth's chaos. They believed the humans were not ready to rule, not ready to lead, not ready to rise. They listened for a message of peace or a threat, but what came instead was nothing. No sound. No declaration. Just a pulse. A rhythm. And from it, a map. Within days, dozens of other species received the same thing. The map. It pointed to the heart of the human solar system, but it did not invite. It warned. Commander Daxon sat in silence, watching the stars react. "They're sending probes," said Mari. "Small ones. Testing us." "Let them," Daxon said calmly. "They'll find nothing." "Why?" He turned. "Because they think we'll talk, explain, negotiate." He pointed to the stars. But we already answered. In silence. In the war form. Izael stood before the Galactic network. Billions of data streams, surveillance drones, listening stations, all trying to understand what had happened. He sent one more pulse, and from every Earthship, every drone, every satellite, one simple pattern repeated, a heartbeat. Not a machine's, a human's. On the edge of the galaxy, a small alien council met. They had seen the fall of many worlds. They had never feared a young race before until now. They did not scream, one said. They did not threaten, another added. They just stood up, whispered the last. They looked to each other, and Agreed. Earth would not be touched again. Not by choice. Not by force. On the moon, now fully awakened, a monument rose. For those who fell. For those who waited. And for one name carved in light. Iziel. But Iziel was no longer on the moon. He had gone beyond the stars. Past the gate. Into the deeper dark. He was not escaping. He was guarding. Watching. Because something else was still out there. Something older than the conquerors. And it was waking. But now, the galaxy would not face it alone. Because Iziel had made sure of one thing. Earth was no longer last. Earth was first. On Eos. 1. Daxon sat alone, thinking of everything. The silence. The scream. The rise. And now, the calm. Marie entered. Do we send a final message, sir? He looked at her, smiled, and shook his head. No, he said softly. We already did. The stars watched and waited. But Earth did not speak, because Earth had already answered in silence.